Welcome to 18th Century Cooking. I'm your host, John Townsend. Today I've got a couple special guests, Natalie and Tara. We'll be doing a 3-course meal from the 18th century. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us today as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century. Before we get started, let me introduce our guests, or they can introduce themselves. Tell me about Natalie and Tara.
Well, we are Natalie and Tara, and we do a show on YouTube called Natalie and Tara Try Stuff, a show in which we try things for the first time.
We've done everything from parasailing to deboning a rabbit, and we've done a couple of your recipes, and they've turned out great, and they've turned out so-so because we are not cooks.
So, what, you've done mushroom ketchup, right?
Yes.
That was good.
That was really good.
What else have you done?
Meat pudding, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
interesting. We had suet issues, but
yeah,
everyone does.
I don't think we nailed it, but it was still really tasty.
Yeah.
And switchel, you did your own twist on that?
Oh, we just kept adding rum.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. That sounds like a lot of fun. Make sure to check out their channel. There'll be a link down in the description section. So we're going to be doing like a 3-course feast here today, and we've got 3 different dishes, right? So this one we would call a pot roast. They called it something like rump ragu, right? You look at that, rump ragu. And but that one's from 1794. That one's domestic economy. Maximilian Haselborg, and he like collects some recipes together, like so many cookbooks do. That one's going to be the tough one. We'll be doing some prep work on that one. We've got onion rings, or just fried onions with a special ingredient. That one's Mollard from 1802 or so. And then our dessert, you guys picked that out?
Yeah, we picked the Syllabub because we've been dying to try it.
The Syllabub is going to be really good, and we can do a lot. These are just suggestion recipes, really. We can do a lot of different things with these and make them really fun. And that one's from about 1730, so that's an early one. But Syllabubs are, well, they're still popular if you ask me. So we're going to do this tough one first. This pot roast, and so there's going to be a lot of prep work. So let me get you started on a couple little things.
Let's go.
We need the carrots peeled, and I don't have a peeler, of course, because that's not 18th century. So we've got some giant knives, or little ones, and we need our potatoes cut in half, and our mushrooms cut in half, and we need an onion with cloves put in it. So are you familiar?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. So we're going to cut the top and the bottom off of it, take the peel off, obviously, till we get down that. And we're going to take cloves and put them in a couple of rows here around the outside. And there you go. Okay. Have at it.
Great.
So there you go, some knives.
I will do carrots.
Okay, because that was the one that was scaring me. I'll do this one.
What knife?
There you
go.
go.
Seems like the knife.
Great.
Okay, we're going to go. We're just doing this.
We got it. Okay.
So I've got the easy part. I'm just going to flour this nice big piece of beef. Just got some plain old flour. I'm going to flour this up.
Okay. I got it. I can do this. No, I got this.
And you can just scrape it if you want. You don't necessarily have to cut it up. You can just scrape it.
Huge chunks.
She's dangerous over there.
So kind of what's tough about this particular one is that it's got a lot of steps. And obviously I didn't pick this one out. And what we have to do is get this beef frying up. We're going to brown it. And it's a giant chunk to get browned. So we got to brown this up. This will take 15 minutes. Then we're going to dump some ingredients in and cook it for an hour. And then we're going to dump more ingredients in and cook it for another, who knows how long. So this one's kind of complicated, but it certainly turns out really good.
But dumping ingredients, I can handle dumping.
Yeah. It's pretty much.
Throwing it in.
It's pretty much dump this in, dump that in. It's more about the timing. So we're going to cook this in our camp kettle or in our Dutch oven, and we're going to do this over the campfire and with coals and all that. You could do this in your oven at home if you wanted to do it.
Which is what we would do.
Yeah.
That's prettier. I want that.
This one's fun. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in this. We're going to cook these things outdoors today. I'm going to go out to the campfire and get this cooking.
Awesome.
Okay, the carrots look great, the potatoes look good, and you've got this beautiful onion with cloves. While that is frying out there, we have to wait for the rest of this one. We're going to move on to the next one, which is the onions fried with Parmesan. We've got some onions here. And it calls for mild onions. So I actually picked out sweet onions for this instead of the kind of spicy, Spanish onions. So we need to cut these up. Cut off the top and the bottom, peel the skin off, and then we're going to be, carefully taking full slices off here. Now, he doesn't actually say to turn them into the rings. He implies that we're actually frying the whole slices. But of course, we're going to turn them into rings because it's more fun.
Right.
Right. Who doesn't like a ring?
So, who's gonna do the chopping?
I chop.
Okay, good, because I was scared.
Careful.
So with these, onion rings to me are fair food. Was this a common, dinner item?
No, this is probably pretty fancy food.
Oh, really?
Right. It's something that would be one of those fancy things that's set off on the side of the table that you would, give me one of those. It's not a main dish, but it is a kind of probably a fancy food for the table.
Was it that it was fried that made it fancy, or that it was onion that made it fancy?
Well, there's the Parmesan cheese that we're going to put in here, and I think nowadays we think of fried food as fair food because it's one of the easy ways to cook things, and everybody likes fried stuff. But it is probably a higher end thing for the time.
Oh wow.
Okay, I didn't know that I have been fancy for many years.
Yeah. And again, these are suggestions. You don't have to be perfect.
I love that about older recipes, it's just like and of this, and you're like, well, but how much of the this? And it's always just
works out.
You get the sense that people just kind of knew, I can sense how much I would put as a recipe. And my grandmother taught me this, so they just kind of knew, and we don't cook, so we need how much butter? Can I have all the butter? That one's mine.
And I think they had different expectations.
Yeah.
Too. They weren't, we know, it's like every onion ring has got to be like this. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. We can make them any way we want. We have our onions all cut up and ready. Now it's time to get our batter going, and let's push this stuff aside. Let's get our batter bowl into the thing. You're going to be.
Oh, I'm whisking.
Are you all about whisking, right? Because we've got a mega whisk project coming up. Not this one, but this is supposed to be half a gill of cream. That's more than a half a gill of cream, but we're going to live with that because this is just batter, right? We're gonna mix some flour in there. You can whisk that in a little bit. Could you chop our Parmesan? I've shaved this off, but we really need it to be in little grated. So just hack at that until it turns into little bits. And we're gonna add some egg into this. And we probably should have done this in another, we should have probably done the egg first and put it, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do it the hard way, which is the way I do everything, usually the wrong way or the hard way.
That sounds like our show.
Yeah.
There we go.
Do I need more?
Yes.
More?
Yes.
There's always more.
He called for up to a quarter of a cup. So,
okay.
I mean, you can't go wrong, right? You just keep.
Just
keep
more.
going, right?
We have more than half a gill of cream, so we need
Right.
extra.
And,
Okay.
and this is, again, these are suggestions. They aren't, there's only about half the ingredients have a quantity. So we really actually don't know the perfect thing to do.
And when they say quantities, they say things like Jill.
Yeah, right. And those can vary depending on what country or even the time period that the recipe was written. So it might say a Jill, and one year it means this amount, and another year it might mean something else.
Oh, wow.
Like a Scottish pint is different than an English pint. So.
Okay, guys, everyone get together on this.
Right. No. That's what the 18th century is all about.
Oh my goodness.
So you're stirring with this. We need to I should use a deeper bowl.
I'm so scared of spilling it.
Oh, well, this is all about spilling. We're going to add some salt and pepper while we're here. I like pepper.
Am I whisking now?
Yes.
Good job.
Is this now whisking?
We're going to have some salt in here. Toss that cheese in.
Okay.
All the cheese.
Yes. Oh, there's cheese is going to fly, guys. There's no way the cheese is staying in this bowl.
This is prep work. We are not going to cook these right away because we don't want to cook them very far ahead of when we're going to serve them, obviously, because 3-hour-old onion rings are not the best. So, but these are all prepped and ready to go. We're going to set this aside. We're going to bring in our roast and do the next step on it.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, here we go. This has been on the fire browning.
Oh, that looks
There you
good.
go.
That smells amazing.
Smells great. We got some juices working around in there, which is exactly what we want. We're going to knock this over. There we go. That's good. Oh, yeah. In goes small beer. We don't have a small beer. We could use an alcoholic cider. If you don't have that, just plain cider or beer.
Okay.
So we're going to use this, well, our beer today is a lot like a light beer, a small beer.
A small beer.
Right. And we've got our onion goes in. Let's go ahead and put the carrots in.
There you go.
Whoa,
Bam.
look
Oh,
out.
sorry. Excited.
Some potatoes. We've got some sweet herbs. I've got some rosemary here. If we had some time, we would toss that in, but we're running out of time. I've got a piece of lemon peel. Do we have some whole peppercorns?
Oh,
Put in-
yes, they're hiding right here.
Whole peppercorns, so about half a dozen, 8 whole peppercorns.
That's 4.
And
That's 7.
Yeah, this is
close enough. Close enough. And we're going to add a little bit of salt to that.
pinch of this, a pinch of that.
Yes.
Want some of this?
No.
No, why is it here?
We used it in that recipe. Okay. This, we're going to knock these things down a little bit. And this goes back on the fire, but it doesn't go on a frying fire. This was over a fire, but now it goes over a low and slow fire. If you're going to do it in your oven at home, you would put this in your oven at it's like 300 degrees or so, really low, and let it cook for hours. So an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that. Depends on how big that piece of meat is.
Right.
This one, hour and a half maybe or so. And then we'll do a little bit of work with it right at the very end.
Okay.
But right now, this is going to go on coals. I'm going to put this on a bed of coals underneath, put coals on top so it gets heat from both sides. So this goes back out to the fire.
Awesome.
Great.
So it's been about an hour and a half. Let's go check on our roast and see what it looks like. And you can see with the lid off here that everything is cooking down. It's looking like it's very, very cooked. We need to do a quick step here where we're doing the ragu part. I've got some chopped mushrooms. We're gonna add in some flour here, and we're just getting this thickened up. And as soon as this feels like it's the right thickness, we can put the meat back in, the potatoes, the carrots back in, and then we're gonna let this kind of simmer around again a little bit more, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so.
And we're getting rid of that onion and the lemon, right?
Yeah, we don't need the onion with the clove in that anymore. We're not going to eat that. That really was just there to flavor it. And the whole idea with the onion is that it's the easiest way to get those cloves out of there, right?
Right.
So instead of having to scrape around in there and find all those little pieces of clove, which, boy, you bite into a clove, you know it, that way we can just toss those all out.
Brilliant. That is brilliant.
So our pot roast is on the fire, still kind of doing this little finish up thing. Onion rings would be next, but we want those to be fresh, right? We don't want them to sit around, so we're going to work on our final dish here second, if that makes any sense at all. And these are whipped syllabubs. And we start off with, we've got a couple of base drinks here. There's a Madeira, a port, and a white wine. And she actually calls for them to be sweetened right up front. Now, the port and the Madeira are probably already pretty sweet. I don't know that they need a lot. The white wine might need a little sweetening. I've got some sugar here. And are there some spoons over there? Yes. You can go ahead and chuck in some sugar. Don't ask me how much.
Did she say anything?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
She just says
great.
sweeten
Just
to
do it.
taste.
Just do it.
And then stir that around until it's dissolved. Now we've got, we're going to do the whipping part, and we've got some cream here. She calls for a whole bunch of cream, so we got some heavy whipping cream.
Lots of cream.
Yes, and she calls for sack to go in this. Of course, sack isn't a drink or a wine that we talk about today. It's not referenced in any modern thing, but it's a sherry, right?
Oh, okay.
So at least as close as we're going to get is a sherry. So we've got some sherry. We're going to toss that in. Again, we don't know how much.
Some.
But we do have the measurement on lemon juice, which doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. But the juice of 2 lemons, we're gonna toss that in. Now it comes the hard part. This has to be whisked up until it really gets thick, frothy. And I'd love somebody else to do that.
A long time. We're just gonna take turns.
Right. I think that looks good. Now the froth gets spooned into the top of these.
Go for it, Tara.
Okay, here we go.
You're gonna need a lot more than that.
I'm gonna go a little at a time though. Okay. I feel braver now. Okay.
Would you wait to put the cream on top of when you're ready to serve, or would you? Does it think it matters at
I would
all?
have it if I had my choice. I would chill these a little bit. I would go ahead and put it, do that and just let it stay.
Okay, well, that's funny.
You can move on to the next one
I'm
now.
just gonna keep going until you guys stop me. Like I don't know,
rotate.
eat this with a spoon maybe.
Well, you do kind of eat it with a spoon. Look
making
how
a
nice
mess.
that
Yeah,
one is,
well-
and this one is not.
Look, okay. Tara's better at things than I am.
So these
Just slower.
That's true. So these would be for like a fancy party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Like a big winter's ball or something.
I don't get to serve at a fancy party
Nope.
because I make a mess.
Nope.
Let me just clean that. There, we can turn it this
You
way.
are disinvited to the ball. There. That seems right.
Okay, good. We can set these aside. I'm going to go ahead and set these on the side table here. Now, getting very, very close to the end, we should get those onion rings going. So we're going to get out by the fire, and our oil should be hot by now. We've already made the onion rings. We've already made the batter. Let's go out and do it.
So close.
Well, what do you guys think?
It's beautiful.
It smells amazing.
Just dive in.
The question is, what does it taste like? I guess. So
Okay.
let's and I gave you the lesson about how to eat with these knives and forks.
Just learned, so don't judge me.
Let's see what we can get here.
So the whole key is, of course, you can't pick up your food with your fork, or else you might stab yourself. So everything is, well, it's a lot more difficult.
This is like so far away from your mouth. You going in? Are you going onion rings?
Yes. Hey, the onion rings are good. They're very good.
That's very, very, very
They're
good. Sorry, now I'm
so
speaking with my
good.
mouth full.
If I had a choice, maybe I'd put even more Parmesan cheese on the onion
onion
rings.
That was my department. Not enough.
The meat is very tender.
Oh, so tender.
Very nice. Very nice. Maybe a little more mushroom ketchup in
You
that.
can always have more mushroom ketchup. Oh, that is good. Like with the Parmesan in the, in the
Oh, yeah.
batter. It's very good.
Those onions are amazing. I love that. I got this. I got this.
Very
That
nice.
is really good. Oh, wait, we haven't tried this yet.
That's right.
We'll go straight to dessert now? We just-
Yes.
We get to skip.
Dessert
Okay.
and
We're
meal?
sampling everything.
Okay.
All right.
How do I do this?
Oh, we're just we could stir it up.
Oh, okay.
Or we can just take a little spoon off. We can get a little bit of both.
Oh yeah, because there's booze in the whipped cream, right?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes. This one should have sugared this a little bit.
Well, that's very unique. We don't taste this part.
Yeah, just even.
Ooh. I want to stir it a little bit. A little stir.
I'm gonna make myself a drink hole here.
I'm just gonna drink it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, I like it.
So good.
And this is all just so well cooked.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how moist this ended up being. So good. Go back. Going back.
Going back in. Dinner, dessert,
Right? Jump around.
Thank you, Natalie and Tara, for joining us for this wonderful 3-course meal. Thank you for sharing the cooking and doing all that hard work. Thank you for that. If you're interested in more like this, and you want to check out one of Natalie and Tara's videos, here's the video on which was it? The beef pudding, right?
Yeah.
Check out this one.